PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code Cajun, all caps, CAJUN, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and I am laughing because we just came up with the title to this must-see episode of NBA Past and Present. It is Plumbers, Porn, and Fireman in that order. Not really in that order, but today's episode, again, the grindfather, welcome back to the channel, Coach Pixley. Today's episode, I'm not going to let you talk. We got to tell people what it's about. It is about the 10 people. We went out, we scoured the archives. We found the 10 guys that looked the least like NBA basketball players from the decade of the 1980s.
Yeah, I think it's the latest decade that you can find the most guys in.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And you're going to find, I'm pretty sure you don't have a common theme because you're pretty diverse with this stuff. I have an extremely common theme, and it is epic.
Is it Plumbers, Porn, or Fireman?
It's all three of those, but it's not. There's a different theme involved. So we'll we shall see. Now, the hard part for me in doing this was some of these dudes, well, not many, maybe a couple. Their body types might have looked like an NBA player to a degree, right? A couple of them only.
Yeah.
But their face and head and hair and everything else was just so epically the opposite.
Let's be clear. Let's just be quite clear. There's two ways to not look like an NBA player. It is your face or your body. Those are the two ways. I've pulled from both pools. Here's my biggest concern. My biggest concern was not to appear racist. I found it very difficult to find black dudes that didn't look like basketball players. All my guys are, not all, but I do have two African-American guys in here. I have a bunch of really nerdy looking white guys. It was just too easy in the 80s. I just kept seeing it. And then it helped that they really sucked. Not all of them. I mean, some of them, believe it or not, I'm going to have a surprise. You guys have got to watch to the end because I have a top 10 player all time in my list. And I think you will too. He might be near the top of my list. So we were talking about this, Jonathan. You said, I think we're going to have a lot of the same players. I was like, I don't think we will. I think we'll have two, possibly three. In fact, I'm almost certain we'll have two. But it's possible to have three. And I told you I was swimming in some very foreign waters. I was in some weird – I went down a rabbit hole and I started digging, and I found some really off-the-wall dudes. So we'll see how much overlap there is. I've got screen share set up. I've got all mine pulled up. We're going to search on Google Images for yours. So it's going to take us a good bit to kind of track your stuff down. So let me switch over to screen share, and then we'll get cranking. Again, to be clear – Plumbers, Porn, and Firemen is the name of the episode, and we are talking about the 10 NBA players from the decade of the 80s. They had to have played at some point in the 80s that looked the least like they belonged in the National Basketball Association. So who do you want to start with, your list or mine, and do you have any honorable mention? I cheated. I have one.
I have five.
Okay. We're not going through five.
I'm going to run through it. I just had to go. Yeah. The fifth guy on my honorable mention was John Stockton, who is obviously one of the greatest point guards of all time. I feel like, and nobody besides you has ever met my brother-in-law that would be watching this. It's like watching my Italian brother-in-law play in the NBA, and little short guy, kind of stocky, looks fairly athletic, but looks like he'd be a great rec league player, right? Yeah. Maybe a good softball player, maybe, whatever. The
fact that he's rocking banana hammocks and those little nut huggers, and by the way, he also, like I said, this may have nothing to do with whether you were good at basketball. I mean, he's got two of the most unbreakable records that will ever exist. So we don't need to look Stockton up. We all know what Stockton looks like. You've got Stockton in your honorable mention. Okay, keep going.
Okay, I have just sent you the link to my next guy.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to pull any links up because you're sending it to my email address over there off screen.
Okay, gotcha. My next guy is John Sunvold.
Yeah.
John Sunvold.
Led the NBA in, I think it's JON, isn't it? Maybe not.
It's JON, SUN.
Yeah. Led the NBA in 3-point percentage 1 year for the Heat, if I recall.
Sure did. And he looks like a 1980s teen star that would have been in a movie with Corey Haim and who's the other Corey? Remember, there's another Corey.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, he should have been in one of those movies.
That's
or
Corey.
90210, or he could have been on, you know, saying like a bunch of Saved by the Bell maybe. So
how about this? He just looks like Scotty Brooks. Here you go. He just looks like Scotty Brooks.
I think he looks just like Steve Alford and Tom Brady mixed. Personally,
that's a phenomenal triplet kit.
Yes,
Scotty Brooks, Tom Brady, and Steve Alford jammed into one player wearing the I would say. I mean, I don't know what you want to call those Converse. Stock Converse. We'll call them stock Converse because they were the absolute team shoes that were distributed to teams in 1989. No question about that. All right, Sunvold is number 2. Who's number 3?
Scotty Brooks was also in my honorable mention.
Okay, because they look the same. Okay, so we'll skip Scotty Brooks. It's the same guy except he's got a different uniform on.
It's the picture I had of Scotty Brooks is
okay. Give me Scotty Brooks. I don't mind. I'll chase Scotty Brooks.
You got to find him in a Philadelphia uniform. Blonde hair. Yeah, you're gonna have to find this guy because it's like when you see this picture, you're gonna go, okay, there it is. That's not bad. Go to the third one, right there. Bam, right there. Now tell me he doesn't look like he should be in Lord of the Rings.
He doesn't look tall enough to be a Hobbit.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let's be clear on something. These guys are making your honorable mention. I'm worried that my list is going to be a lot better than yours. These guys look like every white point guard from the 80s that exists.
I know. That's why they're honorable mention. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just getting worried that my list is going to really show your list up. One thing we didn't mention is we're going to solicit comments. I'm going to get on big screen for this. This is important. I want every single person to comment whose list had more ridiculous looking people. Just all in all, consensus. The grindfather or mine at the end of this. I want everybody to comment below. I'll remind you at the end of the video. But
and remember,
we're going at it here.
These are all honorable mentions, right?
These are honorable mentions. Do not hold these honorable mention against them. Yeah.
And going. I want you to make sure. We need to make sure that our viewers recognize or understand this. When it goes from probably the 90s, but definitely the 80s back, you would admit that I know a lot more about the NBA than you do, just historically. Okay.
Probably, yes.
From a standpoint of, I focused on that era. So
that's right.
I didn't have to do as much research on my list whenever I knew who I wanted to
You don't even have internet access. These were already in your saved images on your computer.
Okay, my next honorable mention is Kevin McHale, just because I felt like he belonged on an Addams Family movie, which, he did. And then my last one.
Body and face. Contributing to Kevin McHale's shoulder issue, right? Because his shoulders touched up here by his temples, and then just face also. Yeah.
And then my last one was Mark Ivoroni, who is my least favorite starter in the history of the NBA because he was the 5th starter on my favorite team of all time, the 1980s.
That's right, he was. I saw Ivoroni, Jonathan, and I considered it. Here's a good Ivoroni right here.
There's better guys than him.
Yeah, there's better guys than him.
I just didn't like him, so I put him on here.
Hey, maybe a foreshadowing that picture right there. But yeah, Ivoroni kind of he was not foreign. Was he foreign?
I don't think so. I think he did play in Italy though before that, so maybe that's where he's from. I don't know. But I've heard him speak before. He speaks perfect English, so
here's the deal. What did we stumble upon? Did we just stumble on somebody trying to sell us a Mark Ivoroni photograph for $499? What is?
Is it because Bird's trying to guard in that picture? Is that what it is? I don't.
What? This is not about Bird. This is about Ivoroni. Let's keep that in mind. All right, I'll show you my one honorable mention. Okay.
Yes.
One honorable mention. Elliot Perry. Yeah. I got Elliot Perry because it is so damn hard to find an African-American perimeter player that wore goggles in the history of the NBA.
And those goggles.
Think about that.
Yeah, and those goggles.
And those goggles were extra large. He had extra size, so it didn't affect his periphery. He could see everything. In fact, there was a rumor that he could see through players, like literally like X-ray vision and see through them. And the goggles, later in his career, they outlawed him because they thought it gave him an advantage because he could see, into people, see their bones, see their intricate wiring and stuff like that. So that's my only honorable mention. I'm out. Okay, so I'm done. So here, let's get back on screen share. I don't want to give anything away. Let's go with your number 10. This is where it starts. So this is where people need to pay attention. We're going toe to toe.
Number 10. Now, the issue for me is going to be my order, but I did my best. Okay. So I went Kelly Tripucka as my number 10. Okay.
No problem with that.
Yeah. And I mean, obvious when we say, what did we say? What was the first thing we said?
Wait, did you say, I pulled up Jerry Seinfeld. Does that count?
That counts too. Yeah. It's the same thing. You need to find one with the mustache though, because the mustache is actually, it's kind of a Seinfeld Ben Stiller mix right there. But
it is.
I need a mustache.
It looks like he's wearing a brown leather helmet like football players in the 30s used to wear.
Go find one with the mustache, and we will see the ultimate, the preeminent porn star in the history of the NBA.
When we separated this into porn, plumbers, and firemen, the emphasis on porn came in the Tripucka. Well, there's a couple of other, but yes, Tripucka falls into the porn portion of the title
for sure.
Yeah, Kelly Tripucka. And here's the deal: the dude could fill it up. I'll be honest with you.
He really scored.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you this. I used to wear my tube socks. Tube socks for those young people are really tall socks. They were all white, or sometimes they had colored stripes at the top. I used to pull my socks all the way up to try to emulate Kelly Tripucka because if I'm not mistaken, he was a killer for Notre Dame and a phenomenal. Here's a great Tripucka.
There we go. Now we're talking.
There's a great Tripucka picture. And if you really don't want to sleep at night and you want nightmares to haunt your dreams, that's where we can go next.
That to me is Killer Tripucka, not Kelly Tripucka. Right there.
Killer Tripucka.
Right.
Dude, he's number 10 on your list. I am in huge trouble.
It's hard. I get it. But
he didn't make my list.
But I will also remind people he is the proud owner of one of the top 10 getting dunked on.
Yes.
Of all time.
The unseen, well, not an unseen, but definitely an underrated MJ inside out, just taste
he
these
just started
nuggets.
Rex Chapman, I believe.
Yes.
And then went,
Hey, cheer up, Kelly. All right. Let's go to my number 10. Here's my number 10. It is a gentleman by the name of Rich Kelly. I don't know if you remember him.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't do much in the NBA, but I've got Rich Kelly this says copyright all over it, and I'm using it on my own video. But I don't know, I might get arrested. But that Rich Kelly is number 10 for me. I'll just tell you right now, Kelly Tripucka at number 10 is very intimidating, and it really strikes fear into my heart that maybe I'm not even on the same level as you, because Rich Kelly's a joke. I mean, Rich Kelly's ridiculous. I don't even know where to begin. He looks like Phil Jackson in his 50s.
I had Rich Kelly number 6 on my list, for example.
You did?
I thought when you took into account body and head and hair.
Okay, yeah.
It was over the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Kelly Tripucka had tremendous thighs, so his body was very much, NBA ready. Rich Kelly's body was definitely never NBA ready.
Never.
So Rich Kelly was my number 10. Who do you have for your number 9?
Number 9, and I did it part out of spite and part out of because I think I'm accurate, and that's Bill Laimbeer. I had him on the list, and I feel like one of the doughiest bodies, one of the squarest heads. If you shrunk him down,
what's happening to Bird? What's happening to Bird?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, exactly. If you shrunk him down, and I'm not talking about with the mask on, okay, but you shrunk him down to 6 feet tall, he would be the guy who wanted to fight everybody, but really couldn't do it. Kind of like he was in the NBA.
Yeah.
He'd be that dude that when you went out to the bar, that's what he did.
He definitely, I hated this guy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I had to put him on the list. I had to.
Who did you dislike more? Who do you dislike more, him or Isaiah?
Probably Laimbeer just because Isaiah was at least an all-time Hall of Fame player. I don't know. Gosh, that's
the
so
only
tough.
thing the reason it's hard and the reason you hesitate. Laimbeer was despicable, right? He was horrific. The things he did on the court, and Isaiah was a great player.
That's
the
it.
difference between the two is Isaiah's a snake and a liar and two-faced, and Laimbeer owns it. He was a dick. He was an asshole. He owns it. Like he's like, I was an asshole. I'm an asshole. That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah,
you know,
it's really difficult for me to do. Who would I less like to be around? That's the question. Who would I less like to be around? Probably Isaiah.
Do you see any similarities between, and I don't mean the way they play or ability or anything like that, but between the personality of a Bill Laimbeer and a Christian Laettner? Not from a physicality, because Laettner wasn't like an overly physical player, but Laettner was a little dirty too. Remember, he stepped on Aminu Timberlake. He would get under people's skin. Even his teammates didn't really always like him. Laimbeer and Laettner have a lot of similarities in that way, I think.
I don't see it because Laimbeer was literally just dirty. And I mean, when you see some of the things he did, dragging Larry Bird down, the stuff he did to Barkley, like things like that.
Yeah.
And then, like, you didn't see Laettner.
Well, Jordan.
People.
And what he did to Jordan.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I meant. I didn't mean by their play style. I meant by their just nasty surliness and how some people just really didn't like them, including people on their team. All right, we've spent enough. Laimbeer's your number 9. By the way, Rich Kelly cancels out. You've got Rich Kelly. I've got Rich Kelly. Cancel that out. So my number 9, I've got the one and only Danny Shays.
That's nice.
And let me tell you something. If you think that looks like an NBA player more than a dude that's pretty much getting shots up by himself at your local YMCA, you're crazy. Even in the 80s, this look right here, hey, I just got done with my aerobics class. When are we going to the arcade? Look is not okay. Like, this is not going to be okay. Like, in any era, but even in the 80s, the look on his on his face right now is preposterous. And I didn't even know. We used to play video games, and when I would take the Bucks, remember they would have Sigma, Danny Shays, maybe Blair Rasmussen. No, Big Bad Brad Lowhouse. Krzyzkowiak. You'd have literally 28 feet of terrible white basketball players for the Bucks to choose from as your centers, or you could play with two-headed monster. So old school Bucks. The new Bucks are very different.
A little bit.
Okay,
that's a good picture of Danny Shays. I guess my issue with Danny Shays is, or some of these, I went with what I felt like these guys look like all the time. And I don't remember Danny Shays looking like that all the time. But if you base that just on that picture alone,
I got the picture.
He's definitely.
I've got the evidence to prove it. It only takes once. It only takes once. I mean, you would not catch, any well-meaning, grown man in the 80s looking like this. And so I think he's number 9 on my list. Who's number 9? Who's number 8 on yours?
Number 8 on my list probably should be higher based on the look alone, but I couldn't do it to him, and that's Larry Bird.
Okay, we're going to cancel that out. You're going to have to stay tuned to see where Larry Bird fits on my list.
Yeah, like I said, if you just look at the golden locks,
let's just do that. Let's skip Larry Bird because I think I've got a picture where you're gonna want to. You're always changing my mind and you always want me to reconsider. I think I've got something. I think I'm really on to something.
I saw 6 yesterday. I'll be honest with you. When I was writing numbers down next to names, the first number I wrote down next to him was 3, and I was like, okay, I can't do that.
Better. I think we're desensitized because Larry Bird, Larry Legend, he's a great, he was our hero. He was like, there's so many things, it's really hard. But when you just take a step back, like if somebody dropped you out of a UFO in the year 1986 and you saw some of these pictures, you'd be like, there's no way. Hey, he's definitely not. He would be a plumber. He wouldn't be born and he wouldn't be a fireman. He'd be a plumber for sure.
Think about what shortened his career. He was pouring concrete in his driveway. Like, what NBA player does that?
Well, his mom's. He was doing his mom's driveway, I think, right? Yeah.
Right. Yep.
God, if only. I mean, he was a millionaire even back then. It seems like Larry could have gotten somebody to do that. All right, let's skip Bird for now because I have him coming up. He'll cancel out on our list. My number 8 is this gentleman right here, who you may or may not be familiar with. I don't know if you're a big fan. Do you know who that is, first of all?
Is that Pennywise? Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't know who that was.
No, it is a gentleman known as Kevin Rastani, my friend.
Oh, I've never heard of him. Okay,
It was
that's good.
a not so adept NBA player who played for the San Antonio Spurs. He's got a little bit of Bozo the Clown and George Costanza mixed.
Pretty good.
He's got a nice, feathery, faint mustache. He was allergic to the weight room. And if you'll take particular notice of his left knee brace, it's doing nothing because it is literally like a quadruple XL. And it's doing absolutely nothing. I don't even know how it stays on his leg.
I was just fixing to point that out and go, what is that brace doing?
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It looks like a ice bag that you blew up, but no ice in it.
No, it makes no sense. Kevin Rastani is number 8 on my list. Like I said, I'm swimming in some interesting waters here, and I went into dark places, and I came out with a pretty good list. Number 7 on your list.
Real quick, I think something else that we could use as a qualifier here is if you look like you belonged in the movie Semi-Pro, right? So this dude,
like you were cut and pasted out of the tropics into an NBA uniform. They cut and pasted you. Yes, that's it. You belong.
Right. Number 7 for me, and this was, I'm pretty proud of this one. I'm sure he's on your list. Was Bill Hanslick. Bill Hanslick has one of the neatest haircut mustache combos that you will ever see. Played for the Denver Nuggets. You're going to have to go back. Yeah, there you go. Give me one of those right there. Okay. Kind of a Pistol Pete trying to be, right?
I've got a better comp. I've got a better Sarunas Marciulionis.
Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. I feel like there's a better picture of him somewhere. But anyhow, nonetheless, Bill Hanslick definitely did not look like – he looks like the dude if he's walking down the street, you're like, that dude, there's a lot of different things he can do. He's probably a lawyer. He might be an engineer. Who knows? But he's not an NBA basketball player.
He's not an NBA basketball player. But he was actually really good, wasn't he?
He's pretty good. He wasn't – I mean, he was a good role player. Yeah.
You sure? I think he was pretty good. Let's look up Hanslick.
Okay. He's kind of a gritty defender guy.
You're right. I thought he was better than that. He was the Todd Lichty before the Todd Lichty era.
He was on that team with Alex English, Kiki Vandeweghe. Like he was, that Doug Moe team.
It's hard to put up numbers when you're playing with, Alex English and Kiki Vandeweghe and Michael Adams and Fat Lever and those guys really like to shoot the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
And Issel, for God's sake, damn, we just named 5 20 points per game scores. Yeah, that's a big time. Following on the heels of Rastani, I think I've got something incredibly special, and I might have underrated him. It's the great Jack Sikma. And this picture here in particular is really special. It's special to me. I have asked a poster to be made already. First of all, find me an ounce of muscle. Find me 1 freaking ounce of muscle in that human being's body. 1 ounce.
I feel like, first of all, I missed. You
missed. It's just a plain and oversight because it was too good. He was too good.
Yeah, but I put Larry Bird on there and I didn't put Sigma. Are you kidding me? So this dude belongs either in the movie Avatar, if you paint it in blue, or in Atlantis, or he lives in Atlantis, one of the two, right?
Well, first of all, why is she wearing 2 wristbands on the shot?
I don't know.
And then her hair it's beautiful and golden. It's almost like Larry Bird with a perm. Only she's from Sweden.
Although Larry Bird had a perm. It's a better perm than Larry Bird.
He had a better perm than Larry Bird.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, so we haven't gotten to my Larry Bird yet. So I have found a picture of Larry Bird, and many people who are watching will have seen it before, that even outdoes this. And this is one of my pride and joy. I mean, this was when I found this picture, I was literally over here off screen to the left. I was laughing to myself. And I think at that time I texted you and I said, "You're in trouble."
I'm really got right now that I'm not sure I can overcome this. I don't think I can overcome this. Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough.
I've tossed the gauntlet out there. We'll just leave it at that. So the great Jack, and again, Jack Sikma was an MFer on the court. Like he was a really good player. Yeah, he was before that great wave, that great era of centers with the Ewing and the Shaq and all those guys. But I don't think he would have fared well against those guys, gauging by
the white centers. You mean the great wave of
non-white he has hair under his arms, to be quite honest with you.
You do mean the great wave of non-white centers that came out.
The great wave of non-white centers. Actual centers, yes.
Yeah.
Actual centers, yes. Go ahead. Who you got?
So number 6, I already told you, was Rich Kelly for me.
So good. Okay, good. Well, we can move on to my number 6 because I went as obscure as you could possibly imagine with a gentleman. And I did steal a picture pre-'80s, but he played in the '80s.
Okay.
And his name, Jonathan, was Dave Robish. And this is a picture of Dave Robish, Jonathan.
I want proof that he played in the NBA. I want proof that he played in the NBA.
Dude, he played in the NBA. Trust me, because I got my pictures from looking at basketball cards.
That jersey is from a
I know, and he's got an ABA ball in his hand. I got it, but that's a good indication he did play. I promise you, he played in 1981. Dave Robish. Look, here, you think I'm cheating to win, to get the approval and the kudos of all the people that are listening and viewing?
Dave
Watch this.
Bam. There it is. Oh, and ABA, you're right. So let's see.
And how about this? The freaking dude averaged double figures for a career. He has a better PER career than probably Draymond Green.
Oh, my God. He was a player.
Yeah.
Kind of a player,
He was the CJ McCollum of his time. Look at that. 15, 16, 14, 13, 13, 16.
A lot of years in the NBA.
How can Jonathan? I've never heard of him, and he's played like a billion years in the NBA. He played center, by the way. This human being right here. Oops. That guy right there played center.
Oh, my God.
He looks scared to death.
That's good. That's good.
That's
kind of a less than Danny Shays from a little earlier, really.
Yeah. It's almost, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's almost like if you went back in time and tried to create a 1972 Rafe LaFrance.
Oh, now that's not bad.
How about that?
That is not bad.
How about
mixed with Rex Walters.
I love how he's in here with that ball. You know,
yeah, right in there,
nice and tight, just right. You know, he's going to curl it up and let it. You know,
he's definitely shooting it from there.
He's definitely, yeah. It's a single threat position because he's definitely firing it up. He put up numbers, dude. He's a better player than we thought. All right, who you got? Number 5.
Number 5 for me was none other than Mr. Dave Corzine. And Dave Corzine has a couple pictures, one in particular with Seattle that you should find that is frightening, first of all. The
fact that he could have teamed up with Jack Sikma is frightening.
It's frighteningly.
Are we here?
Is go right there. There it is. Bam. That is okay. If those of you who've seen the movie G.I. Jane, that is what's the guy's name? He was on Lord of the Rings. He's a megastar. Viggo Mortensen. That's Viggo Mortensen in G.I. Jane right there. First of all, okay. Secondly, that dude right there could be a serial killer, could be a porn star, could also be numerous professions that make money in a legal way. So
I can't argue with you. He looks like a bouncer from the 80s. He fills a lot of voids. Like he literally, you could drop him into all sorts of professions other than the NBA, and I think he would thrive.
And you know what else you do with him right there? You could put a pink polo on him and pop the collar. I think he could make it work somehow in the 80s. Somehow. Yeah.
So, there's no doubt. How about this? He's a drug kingpin in Miami Vice.
Even better.
Crockett and Tubbs.
Yes.
Maybe they bust in on a raid and Dave Corzine's there, just like snorting nose candy with a bunch of hookers. We don't know that if that did or didn't happen. I mean, I don't know that happened, but I know it could have. It could have happened. That's pretty good. That's your number 5?
That's number 5 for me, yeah.
Number 5, I went back to the mainstream to a player that all of us knew and loved. A player that we probably had posters of him on our wall as kids. He was right there when we were in middle school. This is the player. Men wanted to be him. I'm sorry. Women wanted him. Men wanted to be like him. And I'm talking about
I know who you're going with. I know
the great Brad Davis.
Oh, I didn't think that's who you were going with. But that dude belongs on this list. And that's
I am going with the great Brad Davis. He took your Corzine mustache and took my Jack Sikma haircut and raised us by merging the two together. And how about this? Playing the perimeter with John Stockton shorts on.
And blonde Teen Wolf at the same time, by the way.
Yes.
Don't know how he pulled that off, but he did. Yeah. That's the picture I had for my spot for Brad Davis, which I won't.
You had Brad Davis. You had Brad Davis.
Yeah,
okay, well, they can't
on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is not a bullet in my chamber. I thought maybe I one-upped you again, but if you've got Davis, then job well done. Job well done. That's at least 3 that we've duplicated. So we've already got the over on the common list. All right, number 4 on your list.
Number 4 on my list is one of my favorites, and that is the gunman, Billy Pulse. I don't know if he was really called the gunman, but I like him. Just wait till you see. Well,
Nets or Spurs?
Bunch of Spurs. Go Spurs. But he played on a bunch of teams.
Yeah, I know.
Billy Pulse.
Oof.
No, yeah, just pick, really.
I'm going to go right here.
Where you want to go? Okay.
What is happening here? Or do you want to go here?
That's what I'm saying. I told
what in the hell is happening?
He's one of my favorites. I felt like when I put him on my list initially and I put Bird at number 3, I was like, well, I can't put Bird ahead of Billy Pulse. And then I ended up dropping him further. But that guy right there, there's nothing about him that screams anything athletic, first of all. There might be nothing about him that screams anything other than shaven down Bigfoot, right?
Look out, it's a basketball.
Yeah. So.
That Billy Pulse is nice, Jonathan. I remember hearing the name Billy Pulse. I don't know if Billy Pulse is a good player, but he played a hell of a long time. Should we check his digits real quick? Let's just check real quick, just in case.
Yeah, he was halfway decent, but I mean,
14 years, average double figures. He's a 12-8 guy for his career, dude. It's pretty good. Yeah. Billy Pulse made 3 All-Star teams, Jonathan, in the ABA.
ABA, yeah, in the ABA.
Holy cow!
Yeah, look, I mean, he went 4 double-doubles to open his career.
The dude led the ABA in blocks. Didn't Artis Gilmore play in the ABA?
Don't people who jump play in the ABA?
Don't people who have muscles play in the ABA?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is going on? Why is Billy Pulse a force? Why is he the most underrated player on either one of our lists?
Bro, 16, 10, and 3. That's 4 assists. He was like a Euro almost. They could block shots.
I mean, again, you're talking about prime Billy Pulse, right? Yes. When his hair was peak, his body was peak. Life was fast. He was none of us will ever forget Billy Pulse from this day forward. All right, what are we on? My number 4. I will be shocked if you don't have him somewhere in your top 3.
Okay.
I will be shocked. You don't have Paul McKeskey.
And you don't
have Paul McKeskey. He is the perfect storm of face and body, and you don't have him.
I want you to think about this. First of all, it's inexcusable that he's not on my list. Inexcusable. Okay. Secondly, I still think Billy Pulse rivals him.
That's ridiculous.
I think
we're going to let the people speak. Let's just.
I think he rivals him. I'm not going to say he outright is less NBA looking. I just think he's right there.
All right, hold on a second. So this is the best Pulse out there. That's the best Pulse you can do.
Think maybe, yeah. It's a pretty good Pulse.
And this is what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's doughy, chubby. He's got armor on his body, like an elbow pad, dual sweatbands, receding hairline, but he's keeping the thingy in the front. A nice, beautiful, well-kept perm. Awful in so many ways. The one thing that is redeeming about this picture is that's a badass Bucks jersey. Those jerseys were awesome. Yeah. I remember Marcus Johnson playing in those, Terry Cummings and all those guys, those Bucks before the Bucks became the Bucks. Alvin Robertson, those are really badass uniforms. If I was going to get a retro jersey, it'd be that or the Nuggets. But
here's where I probably screwed up. I didn't have any of the Bucks on my list, right? And the reason I think I didn't was because I'm scarred for life when you used to play with those guys, and when I used to play with them and beat my brother on the same game, and just irritate him. And I didn't put any of them on here, and they probably at least 3 of them belong.
You can almost put the whole team.
You have 3.
We don't have Lowhouse anywhere. Lowhouse might not have played in the 80s.
No, I don't think he did. But I mean, you have Shays, McKeskey, and Sigma. So, and they belong on the list. So anyhow,
maybe I'm not done. Maybe I'm not done. You don't know. I might have more 7-foot white Bucks players.
You might.
Yeah. Well, I so far, like I told you, one of my primary concerns was that I was picking all white dudes. And so my next one, spoiler alert, he's not a white guy. So
is it your only one?
Stay tuned. Yeah, it was only non-white dude that I could pick. I mean, dude, it's not like I've picked anybody that doesn't belong. Let's be very clear. Like everybody I've picked belongs on this list.
I'm with you.
And you'll see. And I'll be really shocked if you don't have him because remember, body counts.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Who's your number? What are we on? Hold on. Lights went out.
You should be on 3. Should be on number 3.
Yeah, you're at number 3. Give me your number 3.
My number 3, you've already listed, and that's Brad Davis.
Okay, we can skip it. Let's go back, though, and show Brad Davis again. Whoops, there's Robish.
Yep.
Right there.
Blonde team.
Just as cool as a cucumber. Again, he's everything every man in the mid-'80s wished they were.
Also, Brad Davis was actually a halfway decent player. Like, he started on a good Dallas team.
Let's go. So, he was with Harper and Rolando Blackman, wasn't he?
Blackman, Aguirre,
God.
Jay Vincent. I mean, they were pretty good.
That's some nasty backcourt right there. And I count Aguirre because he was like 6'5".
Yeah, Roy Tarpley, James Donaldson. Like, it's a pretty good team.
Somebody put Brad Davis on the damn bench for like 8 years, and then he comes out and rocks double figures 5 straight years.
Yeah.
Like he didn't average 5 for until he was 24. And then, I think we'll let you play. Oh, some of those were split seasons, so it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was my number 3. Who's yours?
That's a good 3. I mean, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. My number 3, like I said, I finally got off the white guys, and I went with Oliver Miller. And I wanted to emphasize that body was the primary reason. And so I have 2-in-1 pictures here where he's not wearing a bra on the left at all. On the right, you can't really tell if he's got a harness.
Are you positive he played in the 80s? Are you positive he played in the 80s?
100%. You keep questioning me because I think you're panicking.
No, I think
you're panicking.
I thought he played for Arkansas in the 90s. I must have missed that.
Let me see.
That's it. So.
Oh my God, you're right. I tried to slip one past the goalie. Oh my God, I've been disqualified.
The list is completely canceled. It's over.
Okay, well, here's the deal. Slot everybody up and put Elliot Perry as my 10. That's what the voters, and the viewers, and I apologize. I assure you, I knew better than that. I knew he played in Arkansas right before. Yeah, he played right after Thurman and before Thurman and Corliss and all those guys. Yeah,
right.
A big. Yeah, I can see how this looks to you, okay? But I want to tell you, this was not intentional.
Yeah. In fact, I want to say it was like 90. What was his first year in the NBA?
93.
Yeah, so it really wasn't even close to the 80s.
It wasn't a close look, but can we just look at the pictures anyway?
That's a great picture.
Can we look at this?
I don't remember him being that big. I never realized he got that big.
If you'll look really close at his right bicep, can you zoom in? Can you see that infinity symbol? That's how much he can eat in one sitting. Infinity. And I feel bad because this dude was a good player.
Yeah.
He really was. We did not get to see very much, but I'm going to surprise people. And again, he really shouldn't be on the list. Better than average NBA PER. I think he was actually really effective one year. Yeah, he was 13-7 one year and somehow almost blocked 2 shots a game, which would probably put him top 10 in the NBA this year. He had a good game. He had a good season there for Toronto that one year. But it's clear that teams just kept passing him around. Phoenix, Detroit, Toronto, Dallas, Toronto again, Sacramento, Phoenix.
Well, they couldn't afford his diet.
Poland, they couldn't feed him. It's like a thoroughbred racehorse at Churchill Downs. It's like, I don't want to get in the horse business. I can't keep feeding these guys, these horses. I can't keep feeding them enough, so they keep racing. Yeah, Oliver Miller, man. And again, we make light of it, but that guy was a pretty talented kid. He had a really good college career for sure. And then he went to Poland, CBA, and then Puerto Rico.
And then about a guy that doesn't belong on the list. Can we be done talking about a guy who shouldn't be on the list?
All right, yeah. I'm sorry. I just wanted to validate Oliver Miller as a player. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so this is my number 2.
Okay,
and that is, oh man, this might be one of the greatest lookalikes for actors that has passed away. God rest his soul. Arguably the greatest Chris Farley lookalike for a 6'10" guy in the history of sports, and that's Ed Neely.
This is going to be good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be really good. Well, If you want the most Chris Farley looking Ed Nealy, it will be that picture there. And I don't even know if that's definitely him, but that's him just before he passed away. Yeah. So we'll try to keep it a little bit classy.
Yeah. Go to the 45 Bulls over there and shooting a free throw. That's pretty Farley-esque right there. It's not bad.
I can't believe you got Nealy at 2.
I'm just saying from a standpoint of, now granted, like the other guys, the looks that you get, like McKeskey, this, that, the other. When I thought about this list, I was like, this is the guy just based like on how completely average he looks in every way. There's no way he would ever play in the NBA. And that's what I went with here. So I have him at 2.
Wow, I don't see it. Maybe the viewers, the listeners see it. Yeah. I see a baller. I see a guy who laid the foundation for the Bulls 45 jersey that Jordan would later take and run with. That's what I see. Okay. So right. I don't see what you see. I don't see your Ed Nealy, and this is Exhibit A for why I should win this battle, because when I see Ed Nealy, I don't see Robish. I don't see Rustani. I don't see BD. I don't see McKeskey.
Yeah.
I see your everyday lunch pail big man in the NBA who probably did just fine with the ladies. How about this? He could be Tom Chambers, dude.
Pretty good. That's pretty good right there. I also
I'm shooting holes in your list.
You're shooting holes in an actual legal list, though. One that has 10 players from the 80s. So at least we're going to start there.
I've got 10. I subbed out. I have a sub. You have 5 subs. I got 1.
Now you do. Yeah, you subbed in.
Well, now I don't have a sub, actually. All right, my number 2, and I guess he's your number 1. But I don't know how he can be number 1 when anyway, I got Rambis at 2. You're gonna have him at 1. You gotta have Rambis.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Rambis at 1. I've got Rambis at 2. I'm assuming a lot of people watching would have had Rambis at 1 or 2, or Rambis would be, when we say, plumbers, porn stars, and firemen, the first thing that would jump to mind would be Rambis, because he could certainly carry all 3 jobs at once, or at least by the look of it. Here's a great Rambis picture I don't think you've seen, with a young, physical, shredded Bill Cartwright behind him defending the post.
Jeez. Yeah. I'm
Jonathan, glasses are down. It's like he's wearing reading glasses. Can we be clear on something?
Listen, I'm going to have to go back and admit a mistake that I made as well here. Since you made one, I'm going to have to admit a mistake that I made. I'm going down my list, and you know how I just put numbers next to everything, right?
Yeah.
And so I went down my list, and Ed Nealy was a name that I wrote down, but I didn't even put a number next to. So
I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing.
We can leave.
I see what we can leave him at 2. This is your Oliver Miller. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll give you a free take back.
That's no. We can leave him at 2, but I have a.
Well, if you leave him at 2, you're losing. People are going to punish you in the comments.
No, because I already won because you cheated. But I want to at least make people aware of this person, okay? Because Rambis was number 1 for me, okay? So
yeah.
Mark Landsberger, I want you to take a look at him.
I did.
And there's a couple of really good pictures of him.
Jonathan, I did. I seriously considered him for my list.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we give him his just due as far as where he should be somewhere on this list. And that 54 with his hands behind his back is every bit of the frat guy who used to be the middle linebacker on the football team in high school, and now is wearing a jersey out to the club at night.
3-sport athlete in high school, walked on to the local junior college football team, playing pickup in a Lakers jersey in the summer months to stay in shape or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyhow, is this the same Mark Landsberger? No, that's the guy that plays him in the movie. Okay, that makes more sense. And not the movie, the documentary thing.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think is going to happen here in this picture with Daryl Dawkins?
Well, the only I know what happens to the ball. What happens to his head? Also, I wonder.
How many chains is Daryl Dawkins wearing? When was that okay in the NBA to wear as many chains as you want?
Crazy.
Yeah, Landisberger fits the mold. The ultimate fraternity look. Now, look, you had another guy that was a great fraternity look guy. Who was the Billy Pulse? Billy Pulse would have been another
Billy
good,
Paul's good, yeah,
a good fraternity basketball player.
I feel like Billy Pulse belonged in the movie Deliverance, though.
Super creepy. Super creepy.
Yeah.
All right, look, it's real simple for me. I've got a top 8 player that ever played the game at number 1, and it's just because of one picture. It's really not because of one picture, but there's one picture that really, speaking of Deliverance, there's one picture that really ties it all together. And I want to go back and I want to show you some of the other guys that I've had. I've had Rambus with his reading glasses coming down, and everybody knows Rambus fits the point star mold. We've got, I cheated here. We've got McKeskey. We've got Brad Davis. So far, I'm not letting the people down. I've got Robish. I've got Jack Sigma or Judy Sigma. I've got
that guy, Pennywise.
Ristani, Kevin Ristani, banging the boards. I've got Danny Shays, who is trying so hard to get picked in a pickup game at the local sports and fitness or the LA Fitness and can't get on a team. But he's got goggles and he's ready to play. He's definitely probably wearing knee pads, maybe leg tights, maybe.
Yep, maybe.
And then Rich Kelly, who you had at 6, I had at 10. Which is really now 9 because Elliot Perry is going to slide in. But after all this, no one looks like that. No one on the list can compare with this picture right here.
I didn't realize that he looked as much like E.T. as he did.
Look at this picture. That is incredible. That's one of the greatest to ever do it.
For sure, top 10. Yeah, no doubt. That's crazy.
What is happening with his hair?
I've seen that picture before, too. I forgot about it. That's crazy.
Jonathan, I can see walking in to get a haircut, getting a bad haircut that looks like this, but I can't see walking out of the out of the barbershop and paying the person.
No, you got to walk back
B, saying, all right, I'm ready for my photo shoot.
Yeah. And then C, going, I'm ready for my photo shoot, and I'm one of the 10 greatest players of all time. And this will be on record forever.
By the way, I'm the greatest Celtic that ever lived.
Yeah.
No offense to Bill Russell. You say whatever you want, all the rings and all that. But that's a whole nother episode. But I'm one of the 2 greatest Celtics that ever lived. How about that?
Yes.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah. I just think that right there, the look he's giving is, I'm really nervous about this. I don't think I can do this.
It's everything against what he was about, really.
What is happening? Look at his bangs. Look closer.
He looks as though he is going to be punished in a horrific way, like something in a horror movie that you turn your eyes away from because you're like, I can't watch something.
I told you to stare at the camera. I'm going to torture you. Yeah. Something horrible is happening here to Bird in this picture.
Yeah.
You have Rambus number 1. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Or is Bird in that picture the one doing the torturing?
Oh my gosh.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Oh my gosh.
Is he not staring through your soul like Elliot Perry with his goggles?
I've got to close this out. I can't do it. You turned the tables on me with that last one. That might have been what puts you over the edge. You got to turn the tables on it. The viewers might love that. The viewers and the listeners, you guys are going to determine whose list was better. Please don't be too mean to my friend over here wearing his, collared shirt from Italy that doesn't have a logo on it. Just tell the truth. Be very nice. Be very polite about it. Let us know who won. Plumbers, porn, and firemen. That's what this episode's going to be called. We might get taken down. I don't think we can say porn. I'm not even sure we should say porn. But I'm going to put an asterisk in there on the thumbnail, and maybe we'll get by with it.
Well, and the reason, there's really only one player that led us to do that, and we had to do it for him.
Yeah, well, no, I disagree. I think Tripucka, dude.
No, I think Tripucka was that, is what I'm
saying. Well, what about Rambus?
I guess Rambus could have been that for sure.
Come on, man. Come on, give me the program. What about Brad Davis? Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah, he definitely belonged in that category. Yeah, and I'm not sure we're supposed to be talking about this, so we probably shouldn't talk about it anymore.
No, if Brad Davis did, let's just say Brad Davis did have a porn name.
It would be.
What about Richard Longwood?
What if they left his first name in place?
Brad Longwood? Brad Ridgewood?
Brad Bangkok.
Oh, damn. That just doesn't sound like a last name, though. So I don't think that can count. Especially when you start putting dashes in there, it's not going to be – it doesn't fit well. Yeah.
City. Yeah.
All right. That's it. That's the episode. This one went off the rails. I like this topic. We do top 10 lists all the time. And again – hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too far off the rails here. But we need votes. And I think it's just going to be real clear who won. I don't think we're going to even need to count them up. I think we agreed to bet like $10,000. But other than that, there's not really any financial stakes to who wins. So
we did have three. We did have three in common.
We did have three in common. So you got to take those out. Who were the three in common? Rambus, Bird, and Rich Kelly.
Brad Davis. No.
Oh, and four in common.
Oh, four. You're right, Bird. You're right.
That's crazy. So we went way over on that. I said two, possibly three, but we ended up having four in common.
Yep.
But that leaves us a lot of unique ones too, which was good. It was good to see. So
I think your unique ones. The only one that I have that rivals your Bucks trio was Billy Pulse. Billy Pulse belongs on the list.
You're taking Billy Pulse to the grave, and it is going to put you in the grave. You're not winning this.
No. I'm saying Billy Pulse belongs on the list. If we were to combine lists, I think your list wins. I'll give you that. Other than the fact that you cheated.
Dude, Billy Pulse is going to find it hard to find space on this list, this master list.
I think Billy Pulse is on this list.
Do you agree that picture of Bird should be number one?
It's one of the creepiest pictures I've ever seen.
I have to stop thinking about it since you said maybe he's torturing somebody.
I can't stop thinking about it.
I've got to go back to work. I got to go put a collared shirt on and try to sit down at a table and close. Somebody's buying a house, probably some nice young couple buying their first house. And here I am trying to explain these loan docs to these people. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, who was off screen in that picture of Bird? And was he cutting his own hair?
And is there a chance that that picture of Bird is somewhere outside this couple's house? I'm just worried. I'm worried that anybody you direct into a new home that he could be.
I'm worried my career is in jeopardy. I'm worried my livelihood. This is my livelihood we're talking about, and you're planting seeds in my brain like that. This has probably gone on too long.
Yep.
All right. The next episode is going to be fun. The next episode, listen. I'm going to just give you all a hint, okay? It's going to be a few days from now or maybe a week from now. I don't know. We haven't decided. It's going to be right now, if you could take any current NBA player, including the incoming draft class, any NBA player, and you could have them on a free contract. It does not count against your salary cap at all. You get this player as your franchise cornerstone for free for 10 years.
Yep.
List your top 20. We did 20, right? 20,
yep.
Top 20 in order. It's going to be a great conversation piece. It's going to spill over an hour. So if you're one of those treadmill people, or you're one of those truck drivers, or you're a UPS driver, God forbid, you're listening and you get distracted and deliver the basketball cards to the wrong place. But if you're one of those people that likes long form content, the next one's going to be pretty long. We might have to do it in two pieces again. It's going to be awesome. It's 10 years franchise player for free. Doesn't count against your cap at all. Who do you want to be the face of your franchise for the next 10 years to win games? It's an interesting conversation piece, and we'll get to that on the next episode of NBA Past and Present. Anything else you want to say before? The pinkies are out, so we're done. One of them is almost normal. The other one is anything. Yeah, Correct. It's not. Far from it. Thank you guys for watching. As always, keep collecting. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. We're going to start cranking out some more non-basketball card content. Obviously, it's always going to be basketball content on the Cajun Cardboard channel. More content between us, hopefully over the next few months, and see how it goes. But get your votes in the comments below and let us know if there's a player from the 80s that we missed. I mean, hell, dude, there was a lot of it was a big buffet. It was a wide canvas that we could have extracted a lot of different players that had some creepiness to them. But vote, let us know who won, and we'll take it from there, and we'll talk about it next episode. Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace.